will talk about sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, and negative predictive value. Before we move on to the details, let's talk about this 2x2 table first. Always write gold standard test over here and test applied over here, who have the disease over here and who do not have the disease over here, and the test applied positive over here, and if it comes negative over here. And if a person is disease positive, it means who has the disease via the gold standard test, and our test also comes positive, it means he is true positive. And if the gold standard says a patient has the disease but our test says negative, it means he is falsely negative. And in a similar way, if the gold standard test says the patient does not have a disease and our test also says the patient is negative, it means he is truly negative. But if the gold standard says he doesn't have the disease but our test says he is positive, it means he is falsely positive. So we will learn these four with the help of this example, right? So starting from the sensitivity and specificity. First of all, sensitivity is the ability of the test to catch true positive patients. It means gold standard is saying the patient has UTI and our test is also saying them UTI. Let's label it before as we done it earlier. This was true positive, this was false negative, and this was true negative, and this was false positive. So as we have said, sensitivity is the ability of a test to catch true positives. So the formula will be like this: UTI positive patients labeled by the test and UTI divided by UTI positive patients confirmed by the culture. Our test says UTI positive are 400. Right? But the gold standard says these all are positive for UTI. So it will be like this. So the answer will be like 0.8 into 100. It will be 80%. So sensitivity is 80%. So after sensitivity, next question arises, what about this 100? Obviously, it's the false negative number, which our test couldn't pick up. So false negative is equal to 100 over the total of this over 500 is equal to 0.2 into 100, which means 20%. So false negative is 20%. Or false negative can also be found as 1 minus sensitivity. So sensitivity is 0.8 or 80%. So false negative is 20%. Okay, so now moving to the specificity. So specificity is ability of a test to pick true negative patients. In other words, when a test is applied to a group of people who are confirmed non-UTI patients, this test also labels them as negative for UTI. So the formula will be like UTI negative patients labeled by the test and UTI negative patients confirmed by the culture test. So in our case, our test labeled 450 patients true negative, means 450 patients as non-UTI, so it's 450. But the total patients who are UTI negative by the gold standard are 450 plus 50, 500. So it's 9 by 10 or 0.9 into 100 is 90%. So our test is 90% specific in labeling true negative patients. Now again the question arises, what about this 50? These 50 are UTI negative by the gold standard culture test, but our test is saying they are positive. It means they are falsely positive. So 50 is our false positive number. How to find it? Simple. 50, which is a false positive number, over total of this. 450 plus 50, 500 is 1 by 10 or 10%. So our false positive number is 10%. The other way to solve this is 1 minus specificity. Specificity is 90% or 0.9. 1 minus 0.9 is 0.1 or 10%. Okay, now moving on to the next concept, PPV, positive predictive value. It simply means if your test is positive or if a person is UTI positive, then what is the likelihood that that person actually have UTI? In simple words, there is this probability that your test is positive but you don't have UTI. Okay, so let's simplify it with this example. So UTI positive patients by the culture is 400, right? And by the test is 400 and plus 50. So our test is saying 450 patients are UTI positive, right? So 450. So it's on simplification, the answer comes 0.88, that is 88%. So what does it mean? It means if a person is UTI positive by this test, then the likelihood is 88% that he has actually having UTI. So that also means there is 12% chance or likelihood that that person is not having UTI but his test is positive. Okay, now moving on to the last concept, which is negative predictive value. It simply means if a test is negative for UTI, what is the likelihood that person actually do not have UTI? I know you're still confused. Let's simplify it with the example. So the formula is like this. The gold standard says there are 450 people who do not have UTI, but our test is saying that 550 people in total are UTI negative. It means our test is over predicting the number. It's not actually true. Let's simplify it. 450 is the gold standard number and our test is saying 550. When we will simplify it, we will get 9 over 11 into 100 into 82%. So on simplification we will get 82%. It simply means if your test is negative for UTI, then there is 82% likelihood or chance that you actually do not have UTI. But it also means there is 18% probability, likelihood or chance that your test is negative but you can still have UTI. So this is negative predictive value. Okay, moving on to the last concept, positive predictive value and prevalence. Prevalence means number of old and new cases collectively. So if we are in a population where there is more UTI is more prevalent, then if their test is positive in that population, then the probability, likelihood or chances of actually having UTI will be more. So NPV and prevalence has a bit opposite relationship. If we are in an area where UTI is not prevalent, it's very low, then if the test is negative in that population, then there will be high likelihood of actually not having the UTI. So it's a bit confusing concept, but I've tried to simplify it for you. And now before I end this video, let me tell you a shortcut to solve this 2x2 table. Like if you are a sensitive guy, the people will hurt you and you will come down. But if you are focused and specific, then you will go up. So this was sensitivity, this is specificity. And if you are in the right direction, if you are positive, you always go in the right direction. So this is positive predictive value. But if you are negative, you will go in the left direction. This is negative predictive value. So this is how you can remember it forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.
Style.